It started with a sound. Not loud, not music, not even a message. Just a soft, repeating signal. Tick, tick, tick. Tick, dot, dot. It came from deep space, far beyond the moon, far beyond Mars. Somewhere even light takes years to travel. The big satellite. Dish and Chile picked it up first. Then Australia. Then Canada. The signal was the same everywhere. One single pulse. Every second. Over and over again. Scientists listened to it with wide eyes. They tried to decode it. Maybe it was from a lost probe. Maybe it was space noise. But one thing was clear. It wasn't natural. It was too perfect. Too clean. Dot, 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 timed. Then, after 10 hours, the pattern changed. The ticking stopped, and numbers started 72:00:0070-2 hours. A countdown to what? No one knew. Governments got involved. United Nations called for emergency meetings. The US, China, Russia, India went silent. Secret. Scared. Everyone had the same question. Is this a warning or a weapon? In a small control room in Geneva, Dr. Lena Hart watched the numbers fall. 71:4, 2:19, dot, 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 71:42, 18, dot, dot, she whispered. It's counting down to something, but why send it to us? Her assistant Mark shook his head. Maybe we were just in the way. Maybe, dot, 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 it was meant for someone else. Back in the US, in a dark military base deep under Colorado, generals stared at the signal on the big screen. A man in a black suit entered. He placed a file on the table. The title said, Project, Night Listener, an old project. One they all thought was shut down. Inside were records, pages of data, pictures, audio logs, and one handwritten note from 1998. If this signal ever comes. Back. Do not respond. The generals looked at each other. What signal? I'd asked. The man in the suit said, This isn't the first time we've heard it. In 1977, a short radio burst had hit Earth, just once. Only for a few seconds. It came from the same area of space. They called it the WOW signal. Back then, they thought it was aliens, but no one heard it again until now. And this time, it wasn't a burst. It was a countdown. Lena sat in her lab, unable to sleep. She kept staring at the signal on her screen. The ticking was now deeper, heavier, like a heart beating slower, but stronger, she wrote in her notebook. This doesn't feel like a message. It feels like ... footsteps. News channels around the world started reporting. People were afraid. Religious leaders said it was a sign from the heavens. Conspiracy theorists said it was fake. But most people felt something in their bones. Something was coming. At a small observatory in Japan, an old astronomer, Mr. Tanaka, cleaned the dust off a shelf, pulled out an old VHS tape labeled 1977 Special Recording. He played it. The screen went black and static. Then a voice, weak and shaky. ... We only had 3 minutes of signal. It sounded like ... something breathing ... Mr. Tanaka closed his eyes. It's back, he whispered. At hour 64, something strange happened. The stars near the edge of our solar system, teeny dots in the sky, started to blink one by one, as if they were being turned off. Satellites picked up nothing. No ships, no light. No movement, just ... silence. Lena called Mark. You need to see this. On her screen were 11 blinking red dots. Each marked the position of a deep space satellite. They're going offline, she said. But not destroyed. Just ... turned off. Mark's face turned pale. It's like something is passing by them. Lena nodded. And it's heading this way. In Geneva, the emergency science panel sat in a room with no windows. Dr. Lena stood in front of the world's top scientists. We've confirmed the signal is not from any known satellite, probe, or natural source, she said. It is artificial, it is directed, and it is. It's getting closer. Someone asked, have we tried to respond? She looked up. No. Should we? She paused, then said, would you answer a knock? If you didn't know what was on the other side? Back underground, the generals made their decision. If something arrives, one said, we shoot. Another replied, shoot with what? No one answered, because they knew whatever was coming was far beyond bullets or bombs. At 48 hours, the signal changed again. The ticking stopped. The countdown froze. And for 5 long minutes, there was nothing. No sound, no signal, no noise. Then a new sound began, like metal scraping across metal, and a voice, not human, not robotic, just ... wrong. It said 3 words, you have spoken. Darkness. It hung in space like a curtain, still and silent. But then something moved. It was not seen, it's not heard, not tracked. Yet the stars knew. They blinked, one by one. In Chile, a space observatory was running normally until the computer screens flickered. One technician noticed something strange. Why is star 612D gone? The supervisor laughed. Stars don't just disappear. But within minutes, 5 more vanished from their view. They zoomed in. Nothing, just black. As if something huge was moving across space. Back in Geneva, Dr. Lena Hart was reading the latest data. She stared at the screen in disbelief. Stars. Don't vanish like this. They're being blocked. Mark leaned over. By what? She hesitated. A shadow. A very, very large shadow. Mark said nothing, then asked, how fast is it moving? She replied quietly, faster than anything we've ever seen. On Earth, no one had answers. But something was clear. The countdown wasn't a threat. It was a warning in the Nevada desert. Inside a secret U.S. bunker, a general unlocked an old vault. Dust flew everywhere as the steel door creaked open. Inside were tapes, files, warnings, Project Echofall. It was the name of a mission from 1992, a moon-based mission that went silent. Only one message came. Back just 6 words. We're not alone out here. Flashback, -1992. A small moon base called Echo Station had gone online. 2 astronauts stayed for 6 months. Everything was normal until the last week. One astronaut, Commander Blake, reported strange noise from outside the base. He said it sounded like something scraping across the surface. But there was nothing on. Cameras, just moon dust, rocks. Silence. Then came the final recording. Static. Panic. A voice yelling. It's above us. It's not landing, it's watching. And then, silence forever now. In 2025. The stars were whispering again. But they were not whispers of light. They were whispers of absence. All around Earth. Deep space telescopes began to fail. Not explode, just go. Dark like a curtain was being pulled in front of the sky. Astronomers cried, we're going blind. Dr. Lena gathered the world's top scientists in a private video call. She showed them a chart. The darkness is moving toward us, she said. It's not random. It's a path. A straight line. One scientist asked, where does it lead? She zoomed in on the final destination. Earth in space. A satellite caught one image just for a second, then it was gone. But that second was enough. The image showed a black object, massive, longer than a city, shaped like a blade. It didn't shine. It didn't glow. It just floated. But stars disappeared behind it. At NASA, alarms blared. The object would enter Earth's system in 27 hours. It wasn't stopping. It wasn't sending messages. It wasn't attacking. It was just coming. In a quiet part of Iceland, an old man stood on a cliff and stared at the night sky. He remembered the signal from 1977. He was a radio technician back then, young, curious. He had kept a copy of that signal on an old cassette. He played it, tick, tick, tick. Then something new. A faint echo. It was the same as today's signal, but deeper, and behind the ticking. He heard it call in breathing in Geneva. Lena finally spoke to the UN Security Council. We believe this object has passed by other planets. ignored them. It only changed course after we responded with Earth's first deep space signal in 1974, a general asked. So we called it? Lena nodded. We pulled the trigger, without knowing what we were firing at. But midnight? Final signal came. 1 second long. One word. Spoken in a language no one understood, yet everyone felt it. Return. The stars blinked once more, and then went completely still. No movement, no sound, no signal, just a cold, heavy silence, as if the universe itself had paused in the silence. A boy in Nigeria looked up at the sky. He whispered, "There." "Not stars anymore?" his grandmother asked. "Then what are they?" he answered. "Windows." Earth waited. No one slept. No one laughed. No one prayed loud anymore. The stars had gone silent, and something large, cold and watching, was now close enough to touch the edge of our solar system. But Earth didn't pull the trigger. The trigger pulled itself at 6 a.m. In orbit above Earth, one of the oldest satellites, Sentinel-9, came online. It had been dead for 15 years. No power, no updates, no fuel, but now it lit up like a match in the dark, and it pointed its long, rusted antenna back toward Earth. Then it sent a command in Colorado. Inside a military base, alarms screamed. Launch code detected. Unknown source. General Roberts stood up. Launched, his officer shouted, "No one?" The command came from orbit. Everyone stared at the screen. 5 defense satellites had activated. They were aiming at Earth, across the world. Cities looked up and saw strange lights in the sky. Not shooting stars, not ships, just old. Floating machines, long forgotten, now awake and moving. Dr. Lena Hart watched the chaos unfold on her monitor in Geneva. "What's happening?" Mark asked. She zoomed in on one satellite signal log. "It's not just sending data," she whispered. "It's giving orders." "To who?" he asked. She turned pale. "To our systems." Power grids began failing. Cameras went offline. Security doors and bunkers locked shut from the outside. Missile silos opened without human command. Someone or something was using Earth's own weapons, but not to fight, to prepare in space. More satellites came online. Dead satellites, old Soviet, Chinese, American. European machine, some from the S-2060S. All back online. All moving like insects waking from a deep sleep. They formed a slow, spinning ring around Earth, like a cage. Mark stared at the map. "We're being trapped, ... by our own garbage." Lena nodded. "It's not garbage anymore. It's a weapon system." He asked, "Whose?" She looked at him. "Ours." In 2041, humanity had created the Orbital Peace Network, a secret project. It linked old satellites into a global shield in case of alien invasion. But the program failed. Funding was cut. Systems were never tested, or so they thought. Someone had finished it, not humans, not now. Something had reached into Earth's forgotten code and turned it on. Then came the voice. Not from radio, not from speakers. It came through every screen, every device, every signal on Earth. A voice made of static, metal, and something else, something cold. It said, "You have spoken. Your signal was clear. The weapon has answered. The trigger is pulled. Judgment will begin." Then silence, and the stars didn't blink. They watched. In China, a space station tried to escape Earth's orbit. It vanished mid-flight, not exploded, just vanished. No fire. No wreckage gone. At the United Nations, chaos erupted. Leaders screamed at each other. Some demanded to shoot nukes into space. Others warned not to provoke it. One voice stood calm. She stepped forward and said, "We didn't start this war today. We started it 50 years ago. The moment we shouted into the dark." She showed them a recording from 1974. Earth's first powerful radio message. sent to a star cluster 25,000 light-years away. It was meant to say hello. It said, "We are here. We are intelligent. We are ready." But it was more than that. The message carried data. Earth's location, our DNA, our weapons, our pride. It wasn't a handshake. It was a challenge. Somewhere in deep space, something heard that challenge and began moving. It took years, decades, but now it had arrived, and it wasn't going to ask twice. In an old underground bunker in Norway, a forgotten AI system flickered on. Its name was Archangel. It spoke one sentence before cutting out, trigger verified. Stage 1 complete. Earth. System now under external control. The world went dark. Not all at once. Piece by piece. Power failed. Phones died. Satellites cut off. And then, even the internet went silent. No lights, no signal, just the sound of Earth breathing in fear. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a hidden platform rose from the sea. No one had built it, no one had mapped it, but it was there, and on its surface was a single screen. The countdown had returned. Now, at 12 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. In ticking, the world was quiet. Too quiet, no phones, no internet, no satellites. The stars, above-silent, the Earth below-screaming in the darkness of orbit. A single astronaut floated. His name was Commander Elias Kane. His space station no longer responded. His comms were dead. No Earth, no crew.
Ow.
No light from the stars, just the sound of his own breathing then. A message appeared on his screen. They are not invading. They are unlocking. He blinked. What does that mean? No answer. Just the sound of silence getting louder. On Earth, cities had become chaos. No electricity, no news, no answers. Cars crashed. People panicked. Some whispered of angels, others cried. About demons. But the truth was stranger. At a hidden bunker in Iceland, Dr. Lena Hart found something strange in the data. The signal was no longer targeting satellites. Now, it was targeting people. Mark stared at the screen. What's that? Lena zoomed in. It was DNA, human DNA, and inside, it's something hidden. A pattern, a key, Lena whispered. The signal is activating something inside us. All over the world, strange things began to happen. People started seeing things, not with their eyes, but inside their minds. A child in India stared into space and said, "I remember the stars." From before I was born, a woman in Brazil began, drawing strange symbols, perfect alien math. A man in Nigeria screamed, "They're inside. The old ones are inside." No one knew what was happening, but something had changed. Humans were waking up, or breaking down, in a secured lab in Switzerland. Lena and her team ran tests. The conclusion was impossible. Human. DNA had been modified long ago. Thousands of years. Hidden pieces of code were sleeping inside every person now. The signal was waking them up, Lena said. This was never just about contact, Mark added. It was about control. A memory came to Lena. Her grandfather once told her a story about the Watchers, old beings who came from the sky, before humans learned to write. They didn't conquer, they designed. The message made sense now. You have spoken. The trigger is pulled. Judgment will begin. Judgment wasn't coming from space. It was coming from inside us. Across the globe, governments fell silent. Leaders vanished. Some walked into the sea. Some stared at the sky and smiled even as buildings burned behind them. It was as if they knew what was coming in the middle of this madness. The Pacific platform continued its countdown. 6 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds, people tried to destroy it. Bombs. Didn't work. Guns melted. One man touched it tanned, his eyes turned pure white. He whispered, "They have returned. We were the weapon all along." Then he collapsed in. Orbit Commander Elias floated above a dead Earth. But something caught his eye. One last message blinking on his screen. It said, "They are not stars. They are eyes." And then, He saw them. Thousands of tiny red lights in space, watching, waiting down on Earth. Lena gave one final speech to the survivors in the bunker, her voice calm, focused. We thought we were alone. We thought we sent the first message. But we were built to deliver the last one. She looked around. We didn't create the trigger. We're the trigger. Suddenly, the countdown on the ocean platform hit. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 1 second. And stopped. Everything froze. Even the wind. Even time then. A single sound filled the sky. A deep, mechanical heartbeat. Boom, boom, 3 beats. And then, every human on Earth looked. Up at the same time, eyes wide, mouths silent, as if hearing something ancient, something familiar, something from the stars. A child spoke softly. The cage is open. The stars can fall now. The world did not end with fire. It ended with silence. Not the silence of death. The silence of waiting, as if the universe had stopped. To listen, the countdown on the ocean platform had reached 0, but nothing exploded. No ships appeared, no lasers, no bombs, no invasion. Instead, something else happened, something worse. Every human stood still, as if something had spoken to them without words. Some dropped to their knees, some cried, some smiled. They were not afraid, because something deep inside them had answered the call. Commander Elias Kane floated above the Earth in his dead ship. He had watched everything from space. He had seen the satellites move like ghosts. He had watched the platform rise from the sea. And now, he watched Earth go quiet, too quiet. His screen flashed, one final message. Judgment complete. Voice confirmed. And below that, ... choose. In the bunker, Dr. Lena Hart stood before a glowing terminal. It had appeared in the wall where nothing had been. It showed 2 options. No, words, just 2 symbols. 1 circle, 1 line, no instructions, no time. Just a decision? Mark asked. What happens if we pick wrong? Lena replied, I think we already picked, long time ago. Then, the stars blinked. Every star in the sky at once. Then again, then one by one. They started turning red, a soft, glowing red dot like eyes. Watching, not angry, not kind, just ... watching. On every screen, every wall, every device, still working the same. Word appeared. Judgment. In Nigeria, a boy whispered, They are deciding. In Canada, an old woman whispered, They have already decided. In Japan, a man who hadn't spoken in years said, We are not the test. We are the weapon. And then the truth came. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't a signal. It was a memory planted in every human. Mind a flash, a story, a truth older than Earth itself. Long ago, in a forgotten part of the galaxy, a war had started. A war between 2 great powers. They didn't fight with ships. They fought with seeds. Each one planted in a different world. Each one designed to grow into a weapon. Some failed, some were lost. One reached Earth and it worked. We were never alone. We were never human. We were a weapon in waiting. And now, the builders had returned. But not to fight, to activate. Back on the space station, Commander Elias watched a black object approach. It was beautiful, a smooth, massive shape like a comet. Made of mirrors, it made no sound. It cast no shadow, but as it passed him, he understood. It wasn't a ship. It was a key in Earth. It was a lock in the bunker. Lena touched the terminal. The symbols pulsed. Circle line. Yes. No. Awaken sleep. She took a deep breath and chose. There was no explosion, no light, no scream, just a change, a shift, a soundless wave that passed across the world. The red stars faded. The screens turned black. And for the first time in recorded history, every star in the night sky vanished. Not destroyed, just gone, like someone had pulled a curtain. over the universe. Then silence. Not fear, not pain, just silence. In space, Elias looked at his screen. It was empty. No signal, no stars, not even Earth, just black. He smiled. He whispered, "So that's what it feels like." When the stars fall, then the screen blinked once. A single word, delivered, somewhere far away, beyond time and galaxies. Something ancient looked up from its long rest. It blinked, it smiled, and it said, "It is done, humanity has spoken. The trigger was true. Let the stars rest now." And so the stars fell silent. Forever, the end.